This year is the year of Shadow, according to Sega, and I mean you can see why. There has been a few projects involving Shadow overall. The thing I find amazing though is that like Shadow has not been a thing for at least how long has it been? 19 years. Yeah, more or less 20 years, 19, 20 years, because the last game he was in playable, but also like prominently in the story, featured prominently in the story, was Sonic 06. After that, he was pretty much gone. He only got very little, either very a very little like appearance in a game. For example, Sonic Generations, or like for example another game was Sonic and the Black Knight, but that wasn't really even a proper Sonic game if you go and look at it. So I just find it amazing how after all this time Shadow had a proper comeback, because he had been persona non grata in in the video games, in Sonic's video games, at Sega, at Sonic Team, for whatever reason, for almost 20 years. Because I don't know, like some people were saying that Sonic's friends needed to go back then after Shadows and Sonic 06 fiasco. People started saying, like mostly journalists started saying, Sonic's friends need to go. And then in the early 2010s, mid 2010s, also YouTubers started piling in on the issue, saying that Sonic's friends suck and all that stuff. And the problem is that these people have shaped the discourse when it comes to Sonic, at least online, for the last 10 years with their nonsense, because most of these people don't even care about the franchise. They just wanted to dunk in on it, to dunk on it mostly. I think of people like Game Grumps. They didn't do anything but shit on Sonic for clout, for popularity, but they never cared about the franchise. Because if you actually ask the people who liked the franchise, they will have told you to put at least either Tails, Knuckles, or Shadow in the games. That was the people, the characters people were requesting the most. I assume. I say this because I'm one of the persons who has always said that Shadow should have been a thing more often in games. And like I said, I find it amazing that despite his popularity, because Shadows has always been a popular character in the franchise. His popularity is the main reason he's still a thing. Because just like I don't know, maybe some people don't know it yet, but he was supposed to die and never come back. Just like Vegeta in Dragon Ball was supposed to die and never come back, but thanks to the fan base, they requested their presence, because they had quite the fan following, and the creators of the franchises, so both Dragon Ball and Sonic, like they had to pretty much please the fan base and have the characters, these two characters, come back, even though the plans were different. But I mean, I have to say that the similarities between Shadow and Vegeta stop here. That's another point of contention, because people always compare Shadow to Vegeta, but honestly, they don't really have much in common if you think about it. Other than being the main character's rival and being like evil at the start and then turning good and being the same race. But other than that, like on a conceptual level, they don't have much in common, especially in their backstories, their behavior. Shadow has more in common. I mean, from the characters I know in I can think of at the moment in anime and manga, he has more in common with Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, for example, or this one is a little bit more niche in the Anglosphere, but popular elsewhere. Like he's very similar to Phoenix or Ikki, the Japanese name from Knights of the Zodiac, Saint Seiya. Their backstories are very very similar, but I'm sure there's other like characters in manga that or anime that match Shadow more in terms of personality and backstory. But this is just a parenthesis to interject. I was saying Shadow's popularity. Like I said, I find it amazing that he has been gone despite being one of the most popular characters in the franchise because Sega was listening to the wrong people. To people who had no clue about the franchise and everything. But finally, after 20 years, and I mean, I assume also thanks to the new CEO, because the new CEO is actually someone that knows what the fuck he's doing. From what I've seen, he did help launch the PS1, I think, something like that, and also he did help with the launch of Kingdom Hearts, with the creation of Kingdom Hearts. Like he has quite a few successful projects under his belt, so he is a guy that can turn things around. So I'm pretty like faithful when it comes to this CEO, that he can turn Sega around, and his actions have already started. His direction has already started to bring in some returns, because he gave the direction already. He started giving directions and with the new strategy and all in these last few months, and I think he's been in charge for 1 year more or less. So he started to put in work. So you see, they've announced Virtua Fighter, all their the new games they're making from their old franchises. They've announced like Golden Axe, Shinobi, all that stuff, Crazy Taxi. So new stuff, old stuff, and Shadow, of course, is part of the strategy as well, because he's an important part of Sonic as a franchise that is now back. So hopefully Sega keeps pushing Shadow at the forefront, because he deserves to be more prominent. Because if I have to speak personally, I actually like Shadow more than modern Sonic, at least. Like classic Sonic and Shadow are my favorite characters in the franchise. And I mean, it's not hard to figure out why, because Shadow is definitely more relatable than Sonic, I think, for most people, because Sonic barely has a character. Despite him talking, he barely has like a backstory. We don't know anything about Sonic, while we know almost everything about Shadow. We know his backstory. We know why he was made. We know what he cares about, his origins, and so on. With Sonic, we don't really know anything other than he's fast, He cares about his friends. He likes chili dogs, and that's it. Shadow, I mean, on a human level, it's more relatable. That's just how it is for most people. For me as well, he has a sad backstory, which definitely makes you sympathize with him. Sonic is just too much of a perfect character, let's say, to feel like you can relate to him. I think for most people. So Shadow wins also in terms of popularity because of that. People uh, I do you want to call him like a hero, a anti-hero with a tragic backstory. So I mean, he's not the face of the franchise, but I will dare to say for a lot of people, he's their most favorite character. Yeah, I would say that he's their most favorite character. And I have to say that I really liked what they did with movie Shadow, because honestly, in terms of character design, movie Shadow is my favorite incarnation because I really like his look. Because he is very expressive in the movie, unlike in the video games. In the video games, he is like kind of a poker face, while in the movie they made him very expressive, and his design is just better overall, in my opinion. He feels more human, like he feels like an actual character with a with an arc and feelings. While in the games, if it feels more like a little bit more like a stereotype, like an anime character stereotype, let's say. So hopefully Sega starts actually putting Shadow in more projects from now on. Maybe even a Shadow the Hedgehog 2, because like, yeah, I mean, Shadow Generation seems like a good first step, but you have to follow up with it. Maybe a Shadow the Hedgehog 2 would be nice with a good gameplay, of course. Or even a Shadow the Hedgehog 1 remake. Yeah, with a good gameplay and a proper vision would be nice. But the important thing is that Sega should keep pushing and putting out games that feature Shadow, because the the Sonic Generations remaster and then the movie that's just come out have shown that people who care or like the franchise want to see the character. So don't listen to bad faith actors who don't care about the franchise and actually want to see the franchise fail. About anything, about Sonic's friends, about the gameplay. These are the people that were saying that Sonic was never good. If it was for them, the franchise would be dead and buried at this point. Which is not. I mean, the franchise still has a lot of problems, but they can turn things around a little bit at least. We'll see what they do when they release Sonic Frontiers 2. I think they're working on. Even though I didn't like much the first one, because it felt more like a collection of mini games. Hopefully, for the next one, they can do something better. So when it comes to characters, popular characters being gone, never say never, because you know sometimes sometimes you have to have faith and wait for the right moment at the right person that recognizes the value of something and decides to bring it back, like Sega did with the new CEO, with Shadow and all the other franchises, the classic franchises like Golden Axe, Shinobi, and so on. Sometimes it takes a bit of time for people to realize what's actually going on. So never lose faith in this sense, because we finally got our boy back, and hopefully Siga is not stupid enough to let everything go to waste again. But yeah, as usual, let me know your thoughts, and hope you had a nice Christmas, and put a like also, because sometimes I forget, and I'll catch you in the next video or stream or whatever. Bye bye, guys.